Morning, beautiful. Lovely to see you. Can you hear the cicadas in the background? That's the sound of summer. Although technically we are now in autumn, it will really be very summer-like for at least another month or two. The official seasons kind of predate the real ones. So here we are outside. Let me show you the garden. It's a very softly overcast day today. There's not much to see in the sky, right? What's really happening is all of this. Look at the number of flower spikes. I counted them and I can't remember now. Morning, Linda. Just so many neurines. They always come up on this side of the garden first. Hi, Nikki. See, there's some coming up here as well. But they absolutely love the sun, so there tend to be more on this side. I planted equal numbers of them around the circle a long time ago. Liv, good morning, gorgeous. But anyway, that's how it grows, you know. The garden does not grow according to one's desire. It's a collaboration with light and earth and everything else. And here are the first bunch, which you can see they get chewed, but they're still wonderful. Unfortunately, there's so many of them that whatever it is that chews them knows that there's lots of them. And so those bugs are always here. And every season they chew them. Gregory, good morning, beautiful man. It's lovely to see you. What else can I show you? It's a very nondescript day. But it's quiet and calm. Susanna, good morning. The cicadas are up there in the pine tree that you can see through the gap, I reckon. Because they're not here, they're not close, and well, there's just greenery. That's the thing about summer. There's not a lot of flowers because there's not a lot of water. We have some crazy Japanese anemones pretending to be things that like growing in the bright sun. But, you know, really, they're better in shade. Leslie, good morning. It is lovely to see you. This is a New Zealand native, and it can tolerate just about anything. Morning, Sarah. So here we are, and you know, the ginkgo tree is getting ready to shed its leaves. But in fact, they'll stay on for a while. It's very tough too. All right, and the hydrangeas, which are just mostly leaves this year. I pruned them, that's why. And look, we have some unseasonal rose flowers, which is nice. So, there you go. That's what's happening in the garden. Lisa Louise, lovely to see you. So, oh my goodness, that's better. It's so dark I could barely see myself on the screen. I wonder what you could see. So, today I want to talk about this whole challenge. Morning, Devin! Yay! It's great to see you too. This whole challenge that we have with going into the unknown. Me too, right? And I cannot recall what it was that made me think about this on Friday when I was thinking, what are we talking about on Monday? But there was something, and it's this whole thing that we have where you want to change your life. You really do. And every time you try, you just keep going back to what you know. And that's the key. We go back to what we know because it's familiar. We know how to be that person that we actually don't want to be anymore. It's normal. It's familiar. I know how to be that self who was lackful or fearful or angry or, you know, whatever. And actually the thought of being different, we think, oh, you know, I want to be happier. I want to whatever. But when you really get right down to it, you don't know who that person is, and you don't know how to figure out who that person is. And because you don't know how to figure out who that person is and how it's actually going to work from day to day being somebody else, it's scary, and you just don't do it. And to give you an example, you will probably remember, hi Raji! You'll probably remember if you've been with me for a little while that we've had some double glazing done in the house, which has been an absolute blessing. It's a very big disruption, let me tell you. I really wanted to do the whole house, and I couldn't afford to do the whole house, and let me tell you, I'm very grateful I couldn't afford to do the house. It was massive. For various reasons, it's all good. And the guys are coming tomorrow to do the last sash. It was one that had to be remade, and that takes some time, so the last window's going to get done tomorrow. But what I decided discovered when we suddenly knew that this was going to happen, and we expected about 2 weeks warning, but because we were getting our job done just after the holiday break, we had about 3 days, and it was like, and suddenly there I was in the unknown, and I discovered this really powerful stress response I didn't know I had. And I really went into a bit of a spin, and then we sort of, we worked out our processes, because we had some windows to strip white, and I hadn't done it before, and I had done paint stripping, but not with my husband, and not in this particular context, because I used to have to do everything on my own, because he was injured, and now he's not. And so we had to work it out, and I recognised my own stress response to something that I hadn't figured out how to do before. And the feeling of, there's not enough time, and I have to, now! I need it sorted now. And we didn't have it sorted now. We had to work it out. And the same thing after the windows are installed. They're beautiful. I've got to paint the outsides, because they come primed but not painted. It's like, how do we do that? And because I used to work in health and safety a long time ago, I'm aware of the danger of working at height, and we've got a ladder, and we have to anchor it properly, and we're working this out, and it's fine. But what I notice is the level of stress that I feel about it. I'm like, feck, Maddie, this isn't much of an unknown at all. But you're stressing about it, right? Because after all, if you get it wrong, one of you falls off the ladder, it's pretty serious. There's a risk, there's a genuine risk, there's a real danger. And you have to work it out and assess the risk and work out how you're going to manage it and all of that. And it was just really interesting. It wasn't exactly fun, but it was really interesting realising this is who I'm being. The unknown is scary. And when I look into the future in my own life and what I'm planning, and the things that I don't know how to do in the future that I am creating. I shouldn't say planning, because I can't plan it, because I don't know what shape it's going to take. There are things that if I look at them and think, I don't know how to do that, there's all these unknowns. And I can focus on the unknowns and think, it's too hard. Or I can walk into the unknown. But I got to know who I'm going to be. And I have really recognised that I don't know who I am as a person who's got to solve practical problems that involve time pressure and or risk. I don't know a version of me that is confident and easy with that. As soon as we've worked out the process and we've done it once or twice, it's fine. We carry on. But that kind of dive into the cold water of some new experience, I recognise. I stress about it. So, and I'm not saying that like, whatever, that's just who I am. It's who I've been. It's no longer who I choose to be. Working out the process for painting the outside of the windows was actually a little bit easier than working out the process for stripping the inside, because I was kind of aware, hang on a minute, I got to give myself time to think. I got to remember that I'm no longer under the same amount of pressure that I used to be. So I'd really learned something from the first experience. Berna, it's great to see you, honey. My emoticon queen. Berna does amazing strings and celebrations of emoticons, and I just love them. So, all of which is to say that when we're faced with something, and it can be quite apparently straightforward, but it's unknown, and we don't know how to do it, or how to be the person that navigates their way through that newness. Andrea, good morning, yay! We can get stressed. And more than that, if it's not a practical thing that you just have to get done, which my husband and I just have to get this done, so we're motivated and, we work through it and we make it happen. If it's something more or less tangible, like becoming somebody who's confident, or becoming somebody who's free from XYZ, or becoming somebody who's abundant, and there are all kinds of disincentives inside you, like for abundance, for example. The idea of being beautifully wealthy, of being fantastically and sacredly rich, for example. And you notice I choose my words with care, because there are a lot of derogatory things that get tied together with the wealthy word and the rich word. And I'm very carefully not using those, because when you have piles of money, you can create. You can do amazing things in the world. And there are lots of opinions out there about how having lots of money is somehow bad and, rich people are evil and, tra-la-la-la-la. We've all heard it. But even just that whole thing of, I really want to become superiorly, hugely wealthy, not so I can be better than anyone else, but so I can be superior to my own circumstances and superior to the challenges that I want to address in the world, right? And then you start thinking, what are people going to think about me? What's my family going to think about me? What's my best friend who struggled with poverty for the last 40 years going to think about me if I become spectacularly, sacredly rich? And sometimes that what if is so huge we just, no, I can't. And we don't consciously make that decision. We unconsciously make that decision. We have to keep the people we love and care about happy. It's more important to me to have that little bit of love and acceptance that I know I can count on, even though it's keeping me poor, than it is to go somewhere new. And, toxic relationships are the same. They become a holding pattern that we are accustomed to. And by the way, toxic relationships and toxic jobs are very much the same. It's familiar. You know the pain. You know how to be the person that has that difficult experience. Yeah, but who the hell am I without this? And there's the thing about this. We get so used to reacting. Start again. We get so used to creating ourselves to fit around the challenges. So you have to stop thinking about how others think about you, right? But until you've done that, you don't even realise that unconsciously you're thinking, I'd like to do this. Like, I'd like to get myself a brightly coloured dress, for example. But I know that my rather controlling husband thinks I should wear darker colours. And I know that if I walk down the street, somebody might wolf whistle at me and I would feel really awful if they did that. Because if somebody approves of me as a beautiful woman, then my husband, who is controlling and, scary and all that, Samuel, great to see you, he's going to say something to me that's going to make me feel really small. Because I know that that's his game, that he's got to bully me and I've got to be small. So I would like to wear that dress, but I'm not going to buy that dress or think about it or go do that, because me making myself feel good or feel better or larger or anything is going to mean all this stuff is happening. It's going to happen. And I know it. And I don't know how to be the person that doesn't respond to that thing, to all of that crap, in the way that I'm used to responding to it, right? And so you just think, that's such a nice dress. I'd really like to wear that. But all of that stuff that goes on in a flash in your mind that you haven't even noticed just steers you down the familiar course of saying, that's pretty. And on you go in your day, shaping yourself to fit around the restrictions that people and circumstances and everything else have put upon you. And that you allow it. You continue to allow it because you don't know who you are without it. Yeah, it is time to step into that freedom. It is. It's great that you created that, Linda, because you were in so much of a position not to be free, and now you are. And the deep, deep question that any one of us who is moving from some place where we've felt constricted for a long period of time is not, where's the door? It is not, where's the door? Chris, good morning! It is, who am I on the other side of it? Because when you know who you are on the other side of that door, you are going to be that person before you even get to the other side of that door. And by the time you get to that door is simply going to shatter and fall into dust. It won't exist. Because it's kind of like in being the scared or browbeaten or lackful or whatever, sick, angry person that you've been, that creates the door, that creates the prison, that creates the situations, the everything. And as soon as you really know who you are without it, really know, and really know enough that you can be who you're choosing to be, independent of whether that bloody door is there or not, It is going to go away. I shouldn't say as soon as you know who it is, it's going to vanish. It might take some time. You think, well, why would it take time for me to really know who I am when I'm wearing that yellow bloody dress or the fluorescent pink top or whatever it is, to symbolise? I'm just telling a story, but you get the idea. If you really know who you are, doesn't matter whether you I know who I am, and boom, it's gone. Or, I know who I am. And I still know who I am. And I still know who I am. I absolutely know who I am. And I'm free now regardless. And the person that's kept you controlled, for example. Okay, Linda, enjoy your day. The person that's dominated you, or the situation that's kept you small. Because, it's not always people. It's always some degree of me that has kept me. However it is that I am that I don't like. There's nobody else creating my life. But that external thing that I have said has kept me small, as soon as I am no longer that smallness, as soon as I know how to be larger, something changes. Or that thing stays, but I'm larger. And I get synchronicities, I get those little nudges from the universe that says, yeah, you're doing fine, just stay your course. Stay present with this. You've been small for the last 40 years. You just remembered how to be larger in the last couple of days. Give it some time. Get used to wearing this bright yellow dress with bright pink flowers and phoenixes on it. Get used to being this person, because as soon as you're really comfortable in this state of being, the door is going to open. And being really comfortable in that state of being, by the way, means that you stop looking for the door, because you don't need the door, because you're free regardless of where you are. Regardless of what's going on, you changed. And when you've changed, and you've changed to such a degree that the circumstances of your life have no impact on that aspect of yourself that used to be one way and now is another, it is a law that those circumstances have to change. We just don't know when, and we don't know how. And it's not our job to say, I'm not going to feel this until that's changed. No, we just become who we desire to be. And that's the process. That is the initiation into wealth or freedom or health or whatever. We become who we desire to be, regardless of what's going on in your mind, regardless of what's going on in your body, regardless of what the people are doing, regardless of the circumstances, for as long as it takes. And by the time you really know who you are, it doesn't matter how long it takes. But I have observed, watching people talk about their experience of doing this, about many different things, that by the time they've stopped caring about it because they know who they are, something has shifted significantly in their lives. It's a law. You can't be a different person without the universe endorsing who you're being. It's just how it works. It's just how it works. But I think we get scared because we can't see a change. We can't see, money falling into the bank account. We can't see that abusive, controlling person suddenly changing to become something else, which, by the way, has happened. The person stops being the scared, petrified, disempowered person. Hi, Lucy! Great to see you. Yes, exactly. Live your light. Exactly right, Susanna. You can't stop being like that way without everybody, every atom, every situation, everything in your life being affected by it. So it just seems a really silly thing to think, you mean I become this different person and I get to know this different person and I don't let the fact that I don't know who the hell this person is put me off. I just start to explore that and change it, and that is going to change my whole life sooner or later. Yeah. Now we have to go some pretty deep places to create change that really is sustainable. It's not saying, I'm different now, because I've done that before. It doesn't really work. You have to go much deeper inside yourself, and I don't mean, although this can work. Okay, it's just not for me. I don't mean doing heaps of analysis. I don't mean doing heaps of therapy. I don't mean doing heaps and heaps of why was I like this and what created it and analysing it to pieces. All of those things have value. But ultimately, you can understand exactly why you feel the way you do, and it doesn't help you change into somebody else. No. We have to become somebody else so much that it's like it's in our bones. We feel it. We know who that person is. We know without even thinking how they breathe, how they move, what they would say. When, for the last 40 years, you've been saying something else. If somebody says X and you say Y, but that new person says A, B, C, D. You've got to work out what that A, B, C, D is. And it means facing yourself and your old experiences and your old responses and your old beliefs, your old perceptions, and choosing something else, and then working out how to embody that moment by moment, day by day, and you fall over your own feet and think, oh, I don't like that version of me. How would I be different if I was to run that again? And you rehearse a better outcome. You look at some situation where you're face planted into a cow pat, and like, well, okay, that didn't work. Yay, I tried. Now what's something I could do differently next time? We really have to work this out in ourselves. There's no shortcut. But the wonderful thing is that this is how we can change our lives. It's not with analysis paralysis, it's becoming a new person. And I love that. I love that. Let me show you the sky. I know we're out of time. It's so soft and subtle. Hope you can see the gradations. I don't shut well on my screen, but I know it looks better on the recording that I can see. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Round to the sun. And, it's just softly overcast today. And there are the trees. And there are the flowers. We start with the flowers, we end with the flowers. There they are, being beautiful. And there you are, being beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing my Monday with me. Big love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.